It's Cardboard Time, episode number 131, and I'm your host, Arwen Cathke. On today's episode, I have reviews of The Hobbit, There and Back Again, and Chicken Fried Dice, my final take on that game. Y'all have heard me talk about it for so long, I figured I might as well put my thoughts to a recording. But I also wanted to get back on track with reviews after the craziness that was Gamma and missing an episode and getting an episode in between. Here's a new episode. We're back to every 2 weeks after this. We're back on track, back on schedule, and hopefully we'll stay that way for a little while anyways. Who knows how scheduling will work out with Origins and some other places that I might be this year. So let's talk about the Shelf of Aspiration because it's been a little bit. We've had a couple of episodes in between. It is up by 7. It is at 130. 13 games coming in through various means. We had some purchases, Dogflux and Mathflux. As part of the Find Your Flux campaign, I did want to check both of those out. I will be doing a little video based on one of those. I think Dogflux is how I'm leaning, though, because it was quite enjoyable when I played it. And I will talk about that in a second. Mathflux, just because I like math, I'm an engineer. Why wouldn't I like to check this game out? And then Ray Roads. This is a Amabel Holland game about trains, but also about like capitalism destroying the galaxy. I think that it's just very Amabel and very excited to table this one with a group that's going to appreciate it. I also got quite a few review copies in, the first one being Three Witches. This is the very small box all-play trick taker that I have heard a lot of very good things about, so I picked that one up. Tea Garden, the pure expansion. I absolutely love Tea Garden, and I can't wait to dive back into it with this expansion. Looks like it's going to add some neat stuff, including a solo mode, which I'm thrilled about. I really want to play this more and get this more to the table, and having a good solo mode will hopefully help me do that as well. Star Trek Chrono Trek I got from Looney Labs. They provided that after we had our conversation, and I know that Andy was really proud of that and was very proud to show me all the wonderful things that he put into that and all the different cards in the timeline. So I've got a few people that I think are really going to get into it and excited to check out Chrono Trek with them. I really like Chrononauts. I think that it's a very fun game. It's not for everybody. Not everyone is going to appreciate that game as much as I do, but I really have a soft spot for it for sure. I also got Ants as a review copy. This was a Cranio Creations game that I will be checking out a little bit more towards the heavier side. The Mistborn deck building game I got a review copy of from Brotherwise, and I am very excited about this. I wanted to play Mistborn for quite a while, and I'll finally be able to check that out as well. Garden Lake I got from KTBG, so thank you to them for providing that. Looks like a fun tile-laying polyomino. Excited for that because, quite honestly, I love polyomino games. Scurry Up is a game that came in my influencer bag as well as Down Up from Asmodee when I had my meeting with them at Gamma. And I already got to play Scurry Up. Down Up we also played. I think that Scurry Up is going to be the kind of game that is going to be better for families. It's a little bit of worker placement, which was very interesting, but more for kids. So it's geared more towards the younger set. You can play it with adults, but it's pretty basic, but it might be good for your lighter gamer friends as well. I don't know as though I'll actually be doing a review on that. Down Up, I'm still mixed on. I'm not sure as though I'm going to do a review on that or not. It's a game that is in the style of a Scout or a Nana Toridori in card shedding, with some interesting quirks, but I think those quirks make it a little bit more difficult for newer players to understand what's going on. So I'm thinking about whether or not I want to do a full review of that. But one game that I will be doing a full review on very soon is All In Predictions. This one I did request from Asmodee after I got to play it at PAX Unplugged at their media event and really enjoyed it. I did get to play that again yesterday and remembered exactly why I liked it so much when I played it. It's a very interesting game, and I'm looking forward to talking about it probably on the next episode. And then from crowdfunding, Layers from KTBG finally came in, and I'm so excited to finally play this. Once Allie and I find a time to sit down with it, she's very excited about it, but we've been incredibly busy and need to set aside some time to just dive in. In addition to the base game, there are envelopes that you get to open and kind of progress, and it teaches the game and all the different little modules in kind of segments and iterations so that you're not overwhelmed all at once with a lot of rules overhead. Looking forward to playing that. I got the little supplemental box as well, which has additional add-ins and some additional modes which bring it up to more than just a two-player game. But I do want to experience it and review it as it was originally intended first before I dive into that content as well. So that's as far as the incoming games that I've had played. Again, Scurry Up, All In Predictions, Down Up. Dog Flux, I did get to the table yesterday, did quite enjoy it. Flux for me is like an old comforting friend. It's not necessarily the most engaging game in the world. It's not the one that I'm most excited to go back to, but I always have fun playing it. It's always a fun time when you play it with good people. It's a little bit random, but if you can forgive that and understand what kind of game it is, I do think that it does some interesting things. I also like it for the fact that it is good for newer players. Everybody can find their own version of it that they really like and they're really interested in, and it does keep the rules overhead pretty basic. Everything's right there on the cards. I do what it does for that. I will be talking a little bit more about Flux on the channel coming up and doing some more content when it comes to that. But yeah, Dog Flux was very interesting and very cute. Being Charlie's mom, I do love a good dog game. And then also coming to the table was 20 Strong Tanglewoods Red. I am getting through the Tanglewoods content finally. After a long time, I do owe a review of all the Tanglewoods content to Chip Theory, so I am getting through that. Had a fantastic time with Tanglewoods Red. Did a horrible job at surviving, but really enjoyed it as well. If you haven't checked out the 20 Strong series and you are a solo gamer, definitely do check that out. And I will be having the Tanglewoods content on here once I get through all of those games. Let's get into the two reviews I have for you today. The first one's going to be The Hobbit, There and Back Again. This is a game from 2025 from 1 to 4 players in 30 minutes, designed by Rainer Knizia. The art is by Lorenzo Colangini, and the publisher is Office Dog Games. The Hobbit, There and Back Again is a competitive adventure game in which players draft dice to make pathways, collect resources, and perform actions that help them to reach their chapter goal. In more detail, each of the players has their own adventure board book open to the same chapter of the game, and they play in turn order, starting with the shortest player, because, of course, The Hobbit, they would. That player rolls all the dice, then selects one, then the next player selects one, and so on until all dice have been chosen, at which point the next player rolls all the dice once again. With your chosen dice, you use a dry erase pen to mark the current chapter of your book, drafting a path to evade trolls, battle goblins, solve riddles, and pen the best conclusion to each chapter. The game takes players through the 8 most iconic challenges faced by Bilbo and the dwarves in The Hobbit, such as overcoming trolls, goblins, wargs, and giant spiders, reclaiming the treasure of the dwarves, and defeating the dragon Smaug. In the end, you will want to complete the most rewarding journey to the Lonely Mountain. The Hobbit There and Back Again includes a solo mode, as well as a way to increase the game's difficulty, whether for some players to balance different skills levels, or for everyone to increase the challenge. So thank you to Office Dog and Asmodee for the review copy of this and allowing me to check this out. I did play this first at Origins during the Asmodee media event. I had a wonderful time with it. It was something that Allie actually briefed me on going into the event, like, hey, if you see this, definitely go and check it out. And lo and behold, it was right there for me to play. So I did request the full game, which Asmodee did send me. And this one, I will say, is very easy to teach. That's the first thing that I want to talk about with it. The core mechanics of the roll and write and the pathway drawing are very easy to pick up. The other mechanics are being introduced with each scenario, so you have a very basic core set of mechanics with the pathway drawing of what you can do, what you can't do, and then you have these little small twists to each chapter that are taught when you get to that chapter. So there's not a lot of rules overhead to begin with. You get to teach these core rules, and then as you go along, you get to teach these other rules that are building upon those. So there is also a very nice variety of scenarios with that keep things fresh. Most of the time you're making pathways from one point to the other, but in other scenarios you're trying to surround these shapes using polyomino shapes that you're going to roll using a master die. So there's a little bit of variety that keeps things fresh and keeps things interesting, which I really liked. I think one of the things that kept me most interested was trying to find the balance between rushing the end game, which you certainly can do. You can have a player that really wants to push to the end game, wants to get through as quickly as possible, achieve these few objectives that they can first along the way, and end the game early so that they wind up with the maximum amount of points just from being first. As opposed to players who are going to stick around, they're going to gather points, they're going to stay in an area and try to maximize the amount of point potential that they have in a given area. So I really liked that. I thought that made the game very interesting, and it was a nice balance that you got to achieve between those two. And usually it was the player that kind of struck the best balance between those two that still progressed, but optimized what they were drafting along the way, really did do the best from what I saw in the games that I played. It was neat getting to play through some of the classic scenes from the story, so very familiar story beats if you're familiar with the novels, movies, some fun thematic touches throughout in what you're doing. And like literally the first scenario is going and feeding everybody, and I like that. I thought that was like a little cozy way to start off things before you really got into the big adventures and the high points from the story. I thought it was a nice way to ease into that. So yeah, it was definitely well done from a thematic standpoint from my personal experience. The playtime is just perfect enough that you can get a couple of plays in. So normally what we did was sit down and play 1 or 2 scenarios. Sometimes we even played 3 because we were having so much fun. And I will say that Allie is my wife, who doesn't necessarily play the heaviest games in the world, and she really did enjoy this game, and it kept compelling her to come back. That was something as well that for your lighter gamers, they are going to enjoy this too. The solo does a good job of being very playable. It's easy to pick up. I do prefer this at 2 to 3 personally to add tension at the table from that dice drafting. You are on a timer during the solo mode. And again, very well done. It's something that for me, I think is fine. But I really like the interpersonal interaction here because you do get to check off things as people are approaching them. You can see how well everybody's progressing and if they're getting close to checking off that thing that you're no longer going to be able to get the points for doing something first. I really like this with a group personally. It's absolutely fine for solo as well. I also really enjoyed the art style, which is a new, more cartoonish style that this brought to the table. I really haven't seen this done before when it comes to the Lord of the Rings series. It absolutely works with the gameplay. I think with the type of game that it is, with it being maybe a little bit lighter game and that roll and write style, I do feel like this art style really did suit that very well. So I like that a lot. From a vision and accessibility standpoint, there was really no major use of color to denote anything, so there was no issues with color vision. Everything is done with symbology and very well done when it comes to that. So I didn't have any issues playing this game whatsoever. And then for my final thoughts, this is a very lovely, cozy roll and write game to play with family, even if your family isn't Lord of the Rings nerds, and that family can be found family, extended family, friends. We're all family here. It's accessible to a wider audience. Even the scenarios that repeat mechanics still have a way of feeling fresh when you're replaying them. So for that reason, this is absolutely staying on my shelves. I'm looking forward to introducing more people to this game and this system. I know a lot of the people that I've played with already have already gone out and gotten their own copies so that they can have them at home as well. So this is definitely a good one to check out if you like roll and writes, and especially if you like the Hobbit series. It's very cute, and it's a nice nod back to the source material. So that was The Hobbit, There and Back Again. And speaking of roll and writes, we'll talk about Chicken Fried Dice from 2026. This is a 1 to 5 player game, placed in 30 to 45 minutes, designed by Ashwin Kemeth and Rob Newton. The art is by Rob Newton and Mamos, and this is published by Urban Professional Games. Order up, become top chef at a food truck festival by serving up delicious dishes to hungry customers. You'll be chucking and plucking dice in this frantic, puzzly roll and write for 1 to 5 players. Upgrade your truck to outserve your competition, featuring dry erase customer cards and dual layer food truck player boards. Operate your own food truck, serving up delicious dishes to hungry customers. Each food truck is represented by a double layer board with different food stations that help you feed customers. You can then upgrade your truck with these dry erase tiles to outserve the competition. Insert tiles onto your truck to change the way that each station works and make your job easier. Pluck ingredients from the market before other chefs get a chance. It's a race to grab the ingredients that you need each round. And then you're going to use those plucked ingredients to fulfill customer orders before they get hangry. Every customer is unique and gives you a review score and a bonus ability once fed. Plus, if you exactly match their order, you'll earn a tip. So thanks to Urban Professional Games for letting me take a look at the review copy to do this review. I did get a copy of this at PAX Unplugged. Ashwin sent me home with a copy of this, and I did get the opportunity to have it at home for a couple of months and really dive into it, get to play a lot of it, including the solo mode. So I'll have my thoughts on both the multiplayer and solo mode on this. I have played a ton of this game at this point, from OrcaCon last year being my first time actually getting to sit and play it, all the way till now, where it's coming out on Kickstarter today. I've been sitting on this review for a while just because I wanted to coincide it with the crowdfunding date. It was not because I wanted to hold my thoughts. It was literally because I wanted people to be able to go in and see this with my fresh perspective. If you listen to the top games I did of 2025, you'll know that this is one of the best games I played last year, even in its prototype form. It's no secret that I really enjoyed it. I've been talking about this game for a while, so I will talk about why I did. I think for me, the secret sauce to why I like this game so much and why I think it's such a clever game is the real time drafting aspect to it. And it really took me a while to really think of why this clicked with me and why I enjoy it so much. And I think it's because I don't normally like real time games, I don't like real time drafting. It's something that stresses me out. I want to be more analytical. I want to sit there and think about my choices. But because the ability to mitigate what you draft with your upgrades on your truck and the different things that you can do with that between chopping and changing the color of your dice and all the different things there, the real-time drafting becomes less of a factor in when you draft. Certainly, if you get a better die that you can do more with, it's great, right? You're able to do a little bit more. But you do have some mitigation techniques, and that's what I really like. And then you're also, in your upgrades, able to upgrade your path a little bit more towards the things that really do help you. So if you have trouble trying to get the colors of dice that you want, you can upgrade that portion. If you have trouble getting enough dice, you can chop them up and you can upgrade that module. If you want to re-roll, you can get that module. So your strategy there helps you overcome that plucking and that real-time mechanism so that you don't have to necessarily be as super cutthroat in that as you normally would. That, and combined with the fact that if you rush your drafting process too much and your opponents rush that a little bit too much, it can cause some major missed opportunities. If they're only concerned about getting that perfect die, that they're just thinking, okay, I'll just plop this on my order card and not worry about, hey, how can this be changed a little bit? I think that is one thing that really does make the real-time aspect of this game one of the most fun things for me, and it's one of the most beautiful parts of this game's design, and something that I didn't think was originally going to work for me wound up working very well. If you are still bothered by the real-time aspect of this game, you can play it without that. I do find it less fun. I really do like that tension of having everybody go towards and getting those dice, and you can't just grab all four at once. You actually have to use them. So it's just really well paced, and I think with the mitigations that this works so incredibly well. In addition, I really love the art, and the different characters are a lot of different fun. The whimsical art style in this just, for me, suits the game very well, and it's something that attracted me to this game. May not be for everybody, but for me, I really enjoyed that. There is a bit of rules overhead for those who haven't played roll and writes before. This is a little bit more of an advanced roll and write. There's a lot more things that you can do. There's a lot of combo potential in this. There are a few rules that you definitely want to make sure to stress when you're teaching this, such as order up, where your highest values are up at the top and your lowest values are going to be down at the bottom, and you have to make sure that you descend or at least stay even between those values. So those are kinds of things that you do need to stress with new player groups, and that can be a little bit of rules overhead for newer players. Those who are familiar with games already and are regular hobby gamers will have no problem jumping into this. Most of the concepts will come as second nature. It is just a matter of how you teach it, and I do think that maybe getting into it for newer players might be a little bit more difficult. I personally haven't played it at a bad player count, although I do really like it at the 3 to 4 mark, where you've got some good interaction, but it doesn't feel too crowded and you don't have a huge amount of choice in the market. It does limit your choice a little bit, but at the same time, you've got some tension in going through and trying to draft what you need. So I do like it at that 3 to 4 mark. Again, there is some great combo potential in this game. There's a lot of crazy things that you can do to fill multiple orders with the 7 total numbers that you're allotted, because you get to make those between chopping, re-rolling. You get to combo that with a whole bunch of different stuff. especially after you've upgraded your truck and you get towards that end game, you really do feel that satisfying feeling of, I have control over this. I can fulfill all these orders, and I want to make sure that I can clear my plate, so to speak, off of all these orders. And I really like that about this as well. And then the other part that I really enjoyed about this were the solo modes. They are all vastly different. They require different approaches to figure out the puzzle behind them. And they feel very satisfying when you do win them and you overcome them. They're not hard to manage at all. The rule set and how you approach them is very easy, but they do feel incredibly different, each and every one of them. And the solo modes were a fantastic addition to this. They're actually on the back of the player boards, so each of the player boards has a different solo mode on the back of it, which I really love. I thought that was a very clever way of doing it. My only issue with this game was the early version of the rulebook. It did lead to a couple of rule scoofs off the bat, but since this is still in prototype form, I can't comment on what the final version of that rulebook will look like. I have had some conversations with Ashwin about the issues that I did have, so hopefully that will be taken into consideration. But yeah, I mean, they were very few and far between, but they were major. So I'm hoping that those will be addressed. From a vision and accessibility standpoint, the dice color is the only thing that might hinder, with some very severe color deficiencies being seen in people. The colors chosen for the dice for me worked very well. I have heard positive feedback from those who are color vision deficient that the colors are very good choices and they've worked for me very well. There are also color references on both the cards and player materials. Those come with matching symbology, so you can just use the symbology as long as you know which symbols correspond to which color. And again, all the different dice are different enough that I did not have a problem whatsoever trying to figure out what die was what. So very good job done on that from my perspective. And my final thoughts, again, if you like roll and write games, I feel you'll love this game. It really got around my aversion to real-time games. And what it's doing is something that I haven't seen done in any of the other verb and write games. This is a game that I would say, if you have any interest in those roll and writes, verb and writes, I would absolutely give this one some consideration to. It is up on crowdfunding as of today. A great job to Ashwin and Rob and the whole team. Justin for the solo mode. I believe it was Mamo for the artwork and Rob for the artwork. A very well done package. And yeah, it's, again, one of my games of 2025. Could be one of the games of all time. It has really struck a chord with me. I love this game. Definitely check this out if you do roll and writes. That is Chicken Fried Dice. So I think that'll do it for us today. If you want more information on Cardboard Time, you can always go to the website at cardboardtime.com. The Instagram is at cardboard_time, and the Blue Sky is at Cardboard Time. The Discord is on the Tabletop Express server. You can email me at cardboardtime@gmail.com or go to the website for an invite. And any questions, suggestions, or ideas for discussion topics, you can email cardboardtime@gmail.com. I will have some updates shortly as to what other conventions I will be at. I am heading to Minneapolis, Minnesota in the middle of next month for a project that I cannot talk about yet, but I will be heading out to Minneapolis to hang out with some good folks out there, visiting some stores and visiting some publishers. So we will see what that leads to. In addition to that, I will be at Origins Game Fair this year. I do have tickets to that. That is set. And then a couple of other conventions I'm working on as of now that I cannot confirm, but I am working on. If you want me to be at your convention, or if you have a convention that you frequent that you'd like me to go to, you can email me at cardboardtime@gmail.com. Let me know. Where do you want me? Also, for the LGBTQ plus community, things are really tough right now, but the world is definitely better with you in it. And as always, thanks again for listening, and we'll see you around the table in 2 weeks for another episode of Cardboard Time.